Bobby McMahon, what a pickup for Seattle. And 11 points in 8 games. For both you guys who've obviously had different stops in your careers, what can a change of scenery do? Because obviously you can see it can go sideways and it can go downhill for some guys, but talk about the impact. Razor, maybe you can start with this one in terms of the impact of what a move can do for someone.
Well, it can, if they're in a situation where they're not completely utilized, or they get to a situation where now you go from third line to second line, it's just new eyes. The same reason why you hire a new coach. Torts is now there. It just gives a different voice, a different motivation. But the real motivation for McCann at this point now, probably thought maybe I'll sign in Toronto, maybe I'll resign. Now he goes to Seattle and knows he's a free agent. Now he's going wherever he wants. Now he is motivated by moolah, because he could end up being, if he finds a way to get Seattle into the playoffs here, becomes a big part of this, keeps that pace going, he's going to get paid a whole lot more than what he would have if he had stayed in that Toronto market. So I think he's motivated by being a free agent. But again, it's just like a new coach, that change of scenery. If your headspace is in one place and you get somewhere and you're all of a sudden you're on the power play, you're obviously all of a sudden you're getting 2 more minutes, your confidence can explode. And it seems like that's where Bobby Boy is right now.
Commie?
Fresh starts and first impressions. So, it's a brand new, fresh. You want to, like I said, your first impression with new teammates and new coaches, probably maybe just as importantly for sure. So if you get the opportunity to take advantage of it, it can definitely be awesome, which that seems like it's working out well for him now. I will say from my own personal experience, basically being in the exact same spot he was in when I got moved to Ottawa. Now that went the other way for me. I went from playing 22, 23 minutes in Carolina. I'm a pending unrestricted free agent because I knew Carolina wasn't going to sign me. And then I go to Ottawa, and all of a sudden I'm sitting in the 6 hole, and I'm playing like 12 minutes, and we're getting spanked every game. Now I had to go to Bryan Murray after like 9 games and basically come unglued on him and be like, what did you trade for me for? Like, why am I here? And, Brian and I had it, and I like Bryan Murray. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
I do.
What was that like, that conversation?
No, he was good about it. Like, I opened it up with, like, I didn't go right to my minutes, but I'm like, he took over. He was now the head coach. We got rid of John Paddock, which I got nothing against John either. My dad worked for John in Regina for a long time. But, I don't know what the hell was. To this day, I've never spoken to Paddock. But anyways, he's gone. Brian takes over. We're getting spanked left and right. And our practices, we were doing practices that, like, I could put it on. It would be a practice I would do at the University of North Dakota summer hockey school for kids. We're doing horseshoes, and we're doing a cross ice pass, 2-0 down the ice. Meanwhile, we walk into Buffalo and we get our doors blown off 6-0. 5 of the goals are tap-ins from in front of the net. So I go to Brian. I'm like, hey, like, what are we doing? And he's like, well, what are you talking about? I go, Brian, I've been here for 10 games, let's call it. I'm like, we are getting smoked. Nobody is in front of the net. I asked where I'm supposed to be in the D zone. I got either no answer, like asking other players, or I got 3 different ones. I'm like, why are we not working on D zone coverage? And Brian was like, hey, well, it's late in the season. I don't want injuries. I'm like, Brian, I'm not saying we go out here and we're just trying to pulverize each other into the boards, like a little bit of structure. And so I opened it up with that, and then I waltzed into like, hey, that's supposed to be where I'm good. I'm an unrestricted. I just straight up told him, I'm like, Brian, why did you trade for me? I go, this has been a catastrophe so far. Like, give me a shot. Like, give me some minutes and let me see if I can do a little something. So anyways, and Brian did, and then I led their team in playoff scoring.
Figure it out.
I'm waiting for that. Waiting for that. Yeah. What a story. Awesome.
Yeah,
I've never heard you tell that before.
Yeah, we were, obviously, I think I've said this before, but yeah, led the team in playoff scoring, and I think I was back home before the Masters even started. It's the quickest 4-game sweep ever.
But still, Senators playoff scoring leader.
That's right.
That particular year. So
That's
remember
right.
that, everybody.
Yep.
Okay, fan question of the week, everybody. This one coming from Buggy Boo. Canadian teams are commonly on no trade lists. What can be done to attract and keep top players in Canadian markets? Who doesn't want to live in a beach community of palm trees where you do your local shopping by a golf cart and pay 0 state taxes? Do you ever think that Canadian teams outside of Montreal will ever be able to compete?
Well, they will. They'll always be able to compete. There's always the NHL. Look at Winnipeg. Look at all those guys signing 9-year deals there to stay there. That's of all the that's a tough one for most places, but they love it there. They stay there, and you, as a Canadian market, might have to work a little harder. You might have to keep everybody a little happier off the ice.
You got to win, though, right?
You got to win. That was going to be my final thing. At the end, when Vancouver's winning, no one's worried about living there or not living there. If Quinn Hughes was if he was leading the division right now, he wouldn't have asked for a trade or wanted to get out. It's all about winning, and you need players to win. So you have the chicken or the egg there. But the reality is Toronto's always going to be a market that people want to go to. Their original 6. You got Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl, but the reality of the question is, it's hard. It's gotten harder. Guys want to play in Florida on the beaches. They don't want to pay taxes. So you have to make up for it in different ways. And the best way to do it is winning and having good groups, good nucleus, draft well, and keep guys there.
Commie?
Yeah, my short answer, I mean, there's some different ways you could go with this for sure, but my short answer to his question is yes, I do think so. And when you look, I know it's been 30 plus years since a Canadian team has won, but in those 30 years as well, Calgary's been to the finals once, we came close. Ottawa was in the finals. Montreal's been in the finals. Edmonton's been in the finals 3 times, including the last 2 years.
Vancouver's in the finals.
Vancouver has been in the finals twice in that stretch. So it's it's basically a third, call it like 10 out of the 30 years. There's been a Canadian team in the finals. So it's not like they're definitely sniffing around. There's some bad luck. So my answer to that question is yes. I would say, I think if you were to get honest answers from guys on why, I don't think sure, maybe for some guys, the weather, I don't think that's the end all be all. Canada's cold. Minnesota's cold. Boston is cold. Buffalo's cold. Whatever. I don't think that's a big deal. I will say, to do the winning thing, when you're winning in Canada, man, there's no place better to play. Now, when you're losing in Canada, it's a little tougher. The 2 biggest complaints I would think if you ask guys and they gave you an honest answer would be the media end of it, where when things aren't going good, things can get a little negative. And then I think in general, I mean, we don't have to go down this road at all, but I don't think it would hurt if maybe the taxes got lowered a little bit in Canada and we had a little less government in general. So the taxes is obviously, I mean, that is a factor for sure. As much as they say it isn't, guys are going to look at that too as well. I mean, everybody loves money.
Yeah, when you're signing a deal, you're asking what the bottom line is. You don't what the number is irrelevant. It's how much is going into my bank account every 2 weeks. It's not what the actual number is.
Yeah, no, that's I think that those are they're all real answers, and I think they're all that's the reality. I think Toronto's shown over the last few years where, as a team that was competitive, look at how many players wanted to play in Toronto the last few years.
For sure.
Joe Thornton, who was constantly playing in Northern California, all of a sudden wanted to finish up with the Leafs. Patrick Marleau came up there. John Tavares left the Islanders to go play in Toronto. And I remember talking to John a long time ago, and he was like, I would never want to play in Toronto. And here he is, playing in Toronto after all these years. So I think if you're good, Commie, go ahead.
To touch on your point, imagine how awesome it would be if you're on the team that breaks this streak in Canada.
Oh,
exactly.
You're the man. And honestly, I mean, sure, if it's Toronto, but honestly, I don't care what city it is. You're the man. You're on the team that snapped the streak. And there's a lot of Canadians that won't forget that, which I think that's cool.
I think the way that we as Canadians look at Kawhi Leonard for his one and done year with the Toronto Raptors going back 7 years ago, right? He came, he saw, he conquered. They rolled out a red carpet. There was a huge watch for this guy. And he said, I'm out. I'm going to LA. But you know what? Honestly, Kawhi Leonard ever steps foot on Canadian soil. I think any basketball fan, thank you for bringing us a title on this. And I think exactly that point, whoever ends the streak, whether it's in Winnipeg, in Calgary, Edmonton, Vancouver, Montreal, Toronto, Ottawa, they will be remembered as a team, maybe not quite like the 72s Team Canada squad, but I think they will certainly be revered, not just in that market, but I think across the country will be like,
oh yeah,
way to go. Thank you for finally doing that and shutting everybody up.